Hey, welcome. If you own any kind of commercial property, you're going to want to stick around for this. We are about to pull back the curtain on a completely IRS-approved strategy that could, seriously, change your entire financial picture. We're talking about unlocking cash flow that you probably never even knew you had. So let's dive right in.
So let's kick things off with a really simple, but honestly, a really powerful idea. Your commercial building, it's not just one big structure. Nope, it's actually a collection of tons of individual assets, and guess what? A lot of them are hiding a huge financial secret, right there in plain sight. Now, I want you to just take a look at this number. We're talking almost $380,000. And this isn't some hypothetical pie-in-the-sky number. This is the actual first-year tax savings for a single retail center. And it wasn't achieved through some sketchy, risky loophole either. This is the direct result of a powerful engineering-based tax strategy that the IRS is totally on board with.
Which, of course, brings us to the big question, the one that matters to you. How much cash is hidden inside your building? We're talking about everything, the wiring, the carpets, the special lighting, even the landscaping out front. And I'm willing to bet it's a whole lot more than you think.
So, the strategy that unlocks all this hidden value, it's called cost segregation. Now, I know it might sound a little complex, a little technical, but the core idea is actually really simple, and believe me, it is incredibly powerful. Let's break it down. So here's the deal. Cost segregation is all about doing a deep dive into your building. It's about looking at it not as one single thing, but as a collection of hundreds of different components. Experts come in and they identify everything that isn't part of the core structure. You know, things like decorative lighting, specialized electrical systems, maybe the paving outside. Then they get to reclassify all those items for tax purposes. And this is why that reclassification matters so much. See, with standard depreciation, you write off the value of your entire building over a really long time, 39 years. But with cost segregation, you take all those components we just talked about and you get to depreciate them over much, much shorter periods, like 5, 7, or 15 years. You're not changing the total amount you get to deduct, you're just getting it way, way faster. It's literally the difference between a slow drip faucet and opening the floodgates of cash flow, putting that money back in your pocket today.
So you might be wondering, okay, how does this actually get done? Well, it's really important to understand that this isn't something your accountant can just, guess at. It requires a super detailed engineering-based study to properly identify and value every single little component. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The IRS itself makes the rules crystal clear in its own guide. They flat out state that a quality study has to be done by someone with real construction engineering know-how. This is what gives the study its credibility and makes sure it'll stand up to any scrutiny.
Now, the really great news here is that getting started is actually remarkably straightforward. It almost always kicks off with a no-cost preliminary analysis, just to see what your potential savings could look like. If those numbers make you smile, you engage the experts to do the formal study. Then, you just hand that detailed report to your CPA, and they use it to claim all those accelerated deductions. It's simple, it's compliant, and it's so powerful.
Okay, so if cost segregation was already a fantastic strategy, recent changes in tax law have basically put it on steroids. And this is where the timing becomes absolutely critical for you to understand.
This quote from tax expert Dustin Stamper just nails it. The logic is so simple. A $100 deduction is worth a lot more to you when you're paying, say, 37% in taxes than it is when you're paying 25%. So by accelerating your deductions into the here and now, you maximize their value against today's higher rates.
And here it is. This is the turbocharger 100% bonus depreciation. This is a special provision that came out of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. It means that for those assets you reclassify, you don't just get to depreciate them faster, you can potentially write off their entire cost in the very first year. And get this now applies even to property that you bought used, not just new construction. That is an absolute game changer.
Okay, now let's look at an advanced application of these principles. That is, and I'm not exaggerating, kind of mind-blowing. It just shows you how deep this strategy can go when you combine it with some really cutting-edge engineering. So prepare yourself for what I like to call the $1 million drywall tape.
This is a real thing. It's a patented and IRS-tested technology. By using this specific type of drywall tape system, all the non-load-bearing walls in a building, and just think for a second about how much of a building that actually is, all of it can be reclassified from that long 39-year property all the way down to 5-year property.
This unlocks a massive portion of the building for rapid depreciation that before was totally untouchable.
And the results, they're just staggering. I mean, look at this. For a billion-dollar project, this one single technique can unlock an estimated $77 million in tax savings in the first year alone. This isn't just a tax strategy anymore. It's a core financial tool that can totally change the entire economic picture of a major development project.
And when you look at the cost versus the benefit, I mean, the ROI is just off the charts. We are talking about a potential return of 38 to 1 by the 5th year. It really just highlights the incredible leverage you can get by combining smart engineering with smart tax planning.
So after seeing the sheer power of these strategies, the real question is, right, what's your next move? Let's boil all this down to the key takeaways that you can actually apply to your own portfolio.
Okay, let's recap the most important stuff. First, cost segregation directly increases your cash flow. It does that by lowering your tax bill, period. Second, it's a fully compliant IRS-approved strategy. And amazingly, it can be applied to properties you've owned for years, all the way back to 1987. And that means you can capture years of missed catch-up depreciation all in one shot. That's a massive, immediate benefit right there.
So, we'll leave you with this one question to think about. You know your property is an asset, of course, but are you absolutely sure you're treating it that way? Because cost segregation isn't just a tax strategy. It's a really powerful tool to unlock the full financial potential of what you already own.